Well, I suspect you could all imagine my frustration at conceding 2 set-piece goals. Aside that, I felt as though the performance was very competitive on the back of a good result against Philadelphia. There was some good confidence in the group, some nice opportunities, and obviously we tried the line of getting that all-important third goal. It looked like VAR got the decisions right, which is a little bit disappointing, but you know, after going a goal down, the response was incredibly good, and I have to say, 2-1 early in that second period, and then mounting some really good pressure. I couldn't see anything but a win from the group. The real disappointment is nothing to do with how the guys have gone about their business tonight, created chances, have been pretty good with the ball in a rivalry game and dominated in most areas. Dealing with their balls. Can't deal with their balls, can't deal with corners, can't deal with free kicks coming in from wide areas. Then, you know, there's a serious problem, and it's not been an Achilles heel of ours for a long, long time. But, you know, it's certainly proven to be a real disappointment tonight.
Thank you, Coach. We will now open the floor for questions. We will pick that with Ben Wright.
Gary, it feels like last year these are the types of goals that you didn't concede, and now they're coming back to bite you. Do you think, is it just bad luck, or what do you think the difference is between this year and last?
No. I don't base anything on luck, Ben. I think there's some disappointing defending. There may be situations where guys were a tad more focused and sensed a little bit more danger. I don't think the deliveries or anything that anyone's throwing at us is any different. There's certainly a big difference when Walker's in the group, and you know, he of course is very aggressive aerially, but I do think, you know, maybe there's a little lack of guidance and belief when you know, he's not around. But he ain't going to be around. You know, I'm not going to be able to magic him back here. So, you know, we have to find a solution. And tonight was hugely disappointing. Honestly, I can't tell you how deeply disappointed I am. Probably more so than I've ever been since I've been here. Now, listen, we haven't lost. I'm absolutely delighted with the way the guys have gone about their business. I said it at the start. We've shown some very good form here. We've shown some great character here. When we've gone a goal down, a team that you would suspect would maintain possession, their stats, even missing bodies. They've got a very talented group still on the field. I'm just absolutely flattened by our inability to deal with 2 dead balls.
Tim.
That's it.
It went with the back 3 again tonight, gave a long run out to Jalil for, I believe, the first time this year. What was behind the decision to go with that formation, and how did you think it performed during the run-off play, at least?
I truly felt that the weekend's performance gave us some nice dimensions. I honestly thought that against Philadelphia and the way that they played, that the personnel and how we were going to go about our business might help us. I think it did in certain areas of the game, but tonight, you know, a lot of what Atlanta can achieve and create from some very, very aggressive wing-back areas, I would say, and they play with this, you know, hybrid scenario with Sosa as a midfielder and a centre-back, and it gives them some nice flexibility. But what you know out of that is that the 2 wide players, the full-backs, become very, very aggressive. And the stats tell us that Lennon is a real source of creativity. We were able to, you know, really, I thought, extinguish that and create enough of our own. You know, they've had 2 shots on goal. 2. They've scored 2 goals.
Great.
Particularly in relation to Tim's question, obviously you were pretty high on Alex, and trying him at that wingback spot for what seemed to be the first time last game. How did you feel about more the defensive responsibility at the wingback position, and obviously partnering with Jack on that side as well?
Yeah, the big difference from this game to Philadelphia was the shape that Atlanta played. And I always felt that the 2 wide players, full-backs, wing-backs, whatever you want to call them, were going to cancel each other out a little bit. And if you looked at the way that the game went, that's what happened.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we weren't able to get Lovitz in the game much. They weren't able to get Lennon in the game. But there were many other areas that I felt we'd take advantage, and we did for good portions of the game. Alex's role when he came on gave us a little bit more of an aggressive look. He was positive, he's a natural wide player, wants to get forward, got great energy, and he's a very robust individual. So, I didn't see any problems there. I mean, the reason for the change really was to try and get an attacker on there and really get an area that they were lacking. It didn't work out that way in the final exchanges. And I have to look at maybe some of the choices I made and maybe a bit of a situation where some fluidity was lost in our attacking play. But what I wanted to try and achieve then was to get as many goal-scoring players on the field as possible, in the hope in that final 10 minutes that one of them would smell an opportunity and recover the game for us.
Gary, I think this is the 4th 2-2 result this season in 12 games, and I think you were behind in all 4 of those games, but also in all 4 maybe finished on the front foot, probably closer to a 3rd goal. Are you encouraged when you think back of these things because of what it says about your team, that you do fight back and you do have more left at the end, or is it disappointing to not get the result?
I honestly think it's mixed emotions, of course. We conceded very, very few goals here last year, but if you look back at our style of play, in the early stages, there was a lot of real concern about offering up too much to other teams and finding a foundation, which everyone saw, and it served us well. I'm extremely encouraged by our attacking play. Hany and Randall and CJ were a constant threat tonight. Had some really nice opportunities. Didn't always find the final effort at goal that was going to be instrumental, but still the ability that they have to and offered up some more freedom has given them the chance now to really express themselves. So I'm comfortable with that. I mean, look, let's be honest tonight. Let's take out the 2 set pieces, and it's a dominant display. They have a wide free kick in the early exchanges that, of course, is not dealt with at all well, and a corner late on or into the final third of the game. Aside that, I don't remember Joe being tested. I really don't. I don't even remember thinking, oh, they're building some pressure here. This, I can feel, a different sort of mentality about them. I don't know what to say to you, Gentry. All I can tell you is this. In my experience, when teams concede goals, there's an underlying feel to that and a reason. And that can be, maybe a shift in mentality to be more creative. It can be personnel, of course. It can be flippancy about, the second year in the league. I can tell you this flat out, it's not the third one. There's no issues or problems with the group in terms of their mentality and character, as you rightly pointed out. And, you may think I'm sitting here being a little bit dour and down and disappointed about still being unbeaten at home. But as I've said to the guys in there, You know, I think we've squandered 3, 4, 5 points here, minimum. And if you want to draw the line and set your standards at, okay, we're going to be competitive. Well, everyone knows we're going to be competitive. I don't think there's a team in the league that doesn't expect us to be competitive. But if you set your standards at being, you know, a top 6 team, challenging, we could have gone second tonight. That disappoints me. It disappoints me, not in the display, but in the way we dealt with the dead ball situations. It's a small area of the game, but so valuable.
Before we continue with a couple of follow-up questions, Coach, earlier this afternoon we had the opportunity to introduce Akeloba to the club. This is the first opportunity that we have to hear from you about what does it mean to bring him on board.
Well, look, I mean, first and foremost, he's obviously the most marquee signing that we've had in our very short history. And I've got to say, this lad has some serious ability. Eye for goal, explosive pace, and probably a lot of qualities that would put forward into, you know, the top brackets of attacking players in this league. His exploits in Liga MX have been terrific, and he's still at a very good age to continue his development and add what I believe to be a really important dynamic to this team. And if you look at one or two of the things that went on tonight, there is a difference between being creative and scoring goals. And the ones that actually put it in the back of the net are worth a lot of money.
Thank you, Coach. Ben, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I thought you said thank you, Coach.
Gary, on a more positive note, it felt like this was maybe Brian Anunga's best performance I've
Yeah.
seen. Can you talk about him and Dax in midfield?
Look, everyone's going to wake up in the morning and they're going to look at my interview and go, you know, why has he been such a grouch? You're absolutely right. There's some really, really good displays out there tonight, which makes it all the more disappointing. Brian was terrific. Second start, first 90 minutes in a good while, strong, looked assured in the midfield area there. And there were multiple other displays. I mean, look, Jalil started and played his first 90 minutes for the group this year, and he's not seen a lot of time on the field. And he shows the sort of character and constitution that you would expect from such a senior pro as he is to get us back on level terms. I've seen many a player who has been in the background, overlooked and disappointed beyond belief about their lack of inclusion. And when they're called upon, they are so flat, there's no raising them. This guy's got a different personality. He's a good pro, he's a great teammate, and when called upon, he was there for everyone, and he performed very, very well tonight. I could go on and on. There were some great individual performances. So I'm ever so pleased about that. And I would never want, I wouldn't want you to walk away and think, when I don't win, I'm like a spoiled child, we deserve to win, so I'm off. It's not that. You understand the frustration. We've been very, very good tonight in a lot of areas, and I've been really, really pleased with a lot of displays, but we still haven't come away with all 3 points. I looked at their expected goal tally, which is 0.3, and they scored 2 goals. So you can't help me from being, a little dejected about that.
Results.
Yeah, of course, we are kind of disappointed. We wanted the win, but we can take a lot of good things out of these games. But of course we have to handle the set pieces better.
We will now open the floor for questions. Tim, go ahead.
Obviously, when you guys put the ball in the back of the net a couple more times, how frustrating is it to not have either of them count, obviously, for offside calls, but not be able to find the one that is a legitimate goal, I guess?
Yeah, of course, it was disappointed. We scored the offside goal, very unlucky. I think if we would go in the lead with 3-1, probably the game would be almost over. But yeah, that's the beauty of the game. You never know what happened, and yeah, we need to do better the next game.
Gary said that he told you, obviously the team, that he feels like the group has squandered 3 to 4 to 5 points at home, and in terms of taking advantage of the home field. How do you feel about that as obviously the player and a competitor, knowing that, as you said earlier, you could have taken advantage of winning more?
Yeah, obviously, when we are playing at home in general, our goal is to win the game. That's our objective. But yeah, if we review the last games, especially at home, where we gave some points away, for sure there were the opportunity to win that game, and but yeah, we just need to work hard, do better in training. Set pieces is a lot about mentality, and yeah, we need to be stronger than the opponent, willing to head the ball away or kick the ball away, and yeah, there we need to do better.
Hany, when you go back to the game in Atlanta, and you scored 2 goals and came back in a very nice way, that game felt like a victory, whereas tonight, even though yourself had other chances that were almost there, you could not score. Does it feel today as a loss just because of the same issue?
Yeah, for sure. We go out of that game and we think we lost 2 points. That's clear. And there, yeah, when you come back from when you're 2-0 down and draw, then of course it feels like a victory. But in the end, it's a point. I heard that we are like 10 games unbeaten at home. So it's of course a good sign, but I think we are definitely strong enough to win our home games.
One final question, Drake.
Hany, it seemed like, in the amount of times, you guys have played Atlanta, that this may have felt like the most physical. How do you feel like you personally, and as well as the team, responded to the intensity of the game, and of course staying focused to try and get a good result?
Yeah, I personally like to play against Atlanta. You have a lot of 1v1 duels, and they man mark almost all over the pitch. It's not nice for everyone because you have every time a straight 1v1 duel and you have to win it. Obviously, everyone sees in the stadium, and but for me it's good because if you win your 1v1 duel, you have like the pitch is open. Then you have somewhere else a 2v1, or you can play or you can create a very good chance for a goal. So I like to play against them. Of course, they are very physical because if you have all over the pitch 1v1 duels, will be physical, and that's how they play. But I think it fits us. We created enough chances to win that game.
Thank you, Hany. I appreciate you taking it.
It's a summer stretch. Everybody's working hard. Everybody's fighting for points. It's a rivalry match for us. Everybody put everything they had into the game. Obviously, you want to come away with 3 when you're at home, but there's still a lot of positives to draw from tonight.
We will now open the floor for questions. Claudio, go ahead.
Jalil, obviously, we know that you guys work on this set pieces, either offensively or defensively. That's the fact. Now, what comes into play when you see a team that one after the other, the same mistakes happen, especially you as a defender? What needs to happen for these mistakes to repeat themselves often on the team?
We just got to keep working. It's like I said, we're in the summer stretch. You gotta keep working. We gotta stay together as a team. There are always aspects that we need to improve on, and there are always going to be aspects that we do well at. Obviously, There are things that we need to work on, but there are also things that we do very, very well. We're still undefeated at home. We know very well what we're good at, and we know what we need to improve on.
What did you see on the goal? Obviously, not a particularly complicated play necessarily, but what did you see, and what was your first feeling when you saw it hit the back of the net?
It was literally right off the training pitch. So we work on those things a lot. We make sure we're in the right spots a lot. And to the last point, we work on those things a lot, both offensively and defensively. I think it was just a matter of literally a perfect ball. You can see on the replay, I barely even had to move. I just had to react to the ball and make sure I kept it low and hit the back of the net. So obviously, I was pleased, but not losing sight of the fact that it was just an equalizer.
Gary said that he had a message for you guys, and thinking that you guys have had 3 to 4 to 5 points left on the table here. Obviously as a competitor, but more importantly, just a part of this group. How do you feel about that? How did you respond to hearing his messages after the game?
Yeah, it's true. Obviously, this league is tough. Anyone could beat anyone, anyone could lose anyone on any given night, and oftentimes at the end of the season or down the stretch, you look back at results where you could have picked up 3 or picked up 1. So, hopefully we're not in that position come November, come October. So we just need to keep working, keep positive, and be more focused on the details, but at the same time too, understand that if you pick up points along the way, meaning games that you're supposed to win, at least if you tie them, you're typically in a decent spot in the table to fight for what you deserve come late in the season. So just as long as we keep things in perspective, keep working hard, and keep trying to improve week in and week out, we'll be fine.
Jalil, you talked about positive in this game, and obviously conceding 2 goals isn't one, but you still held them to 2 shots, and I think it was 0.3 expected goals. How do you kind of balance those two, conceding 2 goals, but then also overall probably having a pretty solid defensive performance?
Yeah, conceding 2 goals is definitely a negative, but scoring 2 goals is a positive. So, we walk away with a tie. It's not the end of the world. I think the way we balance those things out is it makes it pretty easy to understand, where we could have won this game and how we could have won this game. Sometimes you're kind of sitting after a result where you feel a little bit, disadvantaged or whatever have you. You feel kind of confused and trying to figure out exactly what went wrong. But it's pretty clear tonight, and I think that makes it easy for us to nail it in and be better.
Congratulations, your goal, man. I just want to ask you, we all saw the energy you put in the game. You were trying to push the team up, trying to have an order on defense. And do you felt this night it was going to be the night you will score by giving that energy to the team? And how do you saw your performance tonight?
It's funny you asked that. Before the game, literally we were walking out to the tunnel, and I told Rios that I was going to score tonight. And I was kind of just joking around in practice yesterday when we were working on set pieces that I was going to score. But, I've played a lot of games in this league, and I haven't scored very many goals, so, I guess it just it came to fruition tonight. But, I think, as a defender, your individual performance is you only really can measure it with the amount of goals that you concede. So I think through run of play collectively, we were very sound defensively, but at the end of the day, if they concede 2 goals defensively as a unit, there are things that we need to do better. I think what's good about tonight is that we were creating umpteenth chances on their goal. I think as much as we can be critical on the defensive side and making sure that we hammer in the details to make sure that we turn these 1-pointers into 3-pointers, we can be critical on our offensive side as well, simply because we're getting in great spots, we're getting opportunities to score goals, and it's just an inch here and an inch there, and we win this game 4-2 or 5-2 probably.
Thank you, Jalil. Congratulations on the